the fiat debasement trade goes mainstream. Okay? Trump came out and said, you grow yourself out of debt. What does that mean? We're going to run it hot. There's going to be no austerity. There's going to be no magical Elon cuts and Doge. There's going to be no magical other countries are going to pay our bills through tariffs. We're going to grow ourselves out of this debt. That means we're going to print the money. We're going to run the economy hot. Real rates are going to be negative. That means Bitcoin is going to the moon. That is what we are seeing. Guys, when you see stuff like this, growth out of debt, that means inflationary. For all my Gen Zers out there, that means buy Bitcoin. That means their inflation is coming back. They're going to have to run it hot. They're going to have to print more money. They're going to drive the prices up of these things. Make sure you get yourself some Bitcoin, okay?
When you live in dollars, life gets more expensive. When you live in Bitcoin, it gets cheaper. It's not just about money, it's about freedom, opportunity, and a better life. Dollar savers lose purchasing power every year, while Bitcoin savers often see the opposite. More value, more time, and more possibilities. Before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Check out our other crypto videos and share your thoughts below. Your support really helps the channel grow. Enjoy the video.
So the U.S. government's in $37 trillion worth of debt. Okay. Now, typically, for a normal person like you and I, anyone who's in debt has two options, only two. One, they could pay it back like an honest person. If I'm in debt, $20. I can pick up the phone and say, hey, where do you want to meet? I got your $20 I owe you, right? Pay it back. My second option is I can default. I can pick up the phone and say, hey, I don't know if you're ever going to want to talk to me again. I'm so sorry. I know this is going to impact our friendship, but I'm defaulting on the $20 I owe you. I simply can't pay it back. Those are the two options for any normal person when they're in debt. What you guys have to understand is that the U.S. government uniquely has a third option, unique to them, because they can print what they owe. You understand? They can devalue what they owe. And time again, we know the U.S. government cannot afford to pay it back. We mathematically know they can't. We've walked through the economics on this show. They also cannot default. They can't pick up the phone and say, guys, in fact, a default would actually be the most bullish case for Bitcoin. If the U.S. government said the dollar's dead, we're moving on to something else, Bitcoin would go to $1 million tomorrow. The only option, if it's a multiple choice, the only option they have is to print what they owe, devalue the debt. I used an analogy before. I know this is stupid, but this is like how I would explain it to my baby sister or something. It's, if I owed someone 20,000 Taylor Swift tickets was the analogy I used for my baby sister. I know it's dumb, but just bear with me. If I owed someone 20,000 Taylor Swift tickets, and at the time a Taylor Swift ticket was like $10,000. So that's like a ton of cash, right? A lot of tickets. And I was Taylor Swift. Okay. I could try and find the cash to pay for that. I could default, or I could just make a Taylor Swift ticket worth $1. And then I can afford it. Make them worth a penny, and then I can afford it. Taylor Swift could print a bunch more tickets. Oh, these tickets, yeah, they seat you in the lawn outside the stadium. You get a ticket into the parking lot, not like in the stadium, but it's a ticket. Devalue what you owe. As long as what you owe is worth less, you can pay it back eventually. So, going onwards and on this theme, this is Luke, the debasement trade since COVID. I mean, we got to hammer this point home for you guys and for the whole audience. This is what matters, okay? In dollars, over the last 5 years, guys, since COVID, 5 years ago, In dollars, the NASDAQ is up 165%. So it's more than doubled. The SPX is up 102%. It's more than doubled. Home prices, unfortunately, are also up 56%. So those that have been in real estate have performed 56%. Those that can't afford real estate yet, it's getting much more unaffordable. 56% more unaffordable. However, guys, in gold, so if you do not measure the NASDAQ, the SPX, and housing in dollars, and you measure it in gold, the NASDAQ is only up 7% since COVID against gold. It's up 165% in dollars. It's only up 7% against gold. It's down. The SPX is down 18% against gold. Not up 100%, down 18. And home prices fell 37% against gold. So if you were trying to get a house during COVID and you couldn't quite afford one, housing has gotten 37% cheaper just by measuring in a different asset, just by measuring in gold and not dollars. Do you understand? Now let's do Bitcoin. The NASDAQ is down 78% since COVID against Bitcoin. In dollars, it's up 165%. Against Bitcoin, it's down 78%. Stocks on the NASDAQ are 78% cheaper. You get a 78% discount if you simply used Bitcoin as your savings instead of dollars. Let's do the SPX. They're down 84%. The SPX is up over 100% since COVID in dollars. It is down 84%. You get an 84% discount. Let's do housing. Ladies and gentlemen, real estate is down 87% in Bitcoin terms since COVID. If you have been saving in Bitcoin since COVID, you get an 87% discount on buying a house. That's the debasement trade. That's why I started Bitcoin in 21, Strike in 21. That's what we're doing at Strike. That's why I get my paychecks in Bitcoin. That's why I pay my bills with my Strike account. That's why I borrow against my Bitcoin to finance my life. The debasement trade. Guys, you live your life on dollars, your life gets more expensive. You live your life on dollars, you get less housing, you get less stocks, you get less food, you get less vacations, you get less life expectancy, you grow less family. You live your life on Bitcoin, you get more housing, more equities, more family, more health, more vacations, more education, more everything. How you store your time and energy defines the quality of your life. The quality of your money is the quality of your life. The debasement trade is going mainstream. What we're talking about is going viral, guys. This is it. This is it. Okay? The fiat debasement trade goes mainstream. Okay? Trump came out and said, you grow yourself out of debt. What does that mean? We're going to run it hot. There's going to be no austerity. There's going to be no magical Elon cuts and Doge. There's going to be no magical other countries are going to pay our bills through tariffs. We're going to grow ourselves out of this debt. That means we're going to print the money. We're going to run the economy hot. Real rates are going to be negative. That means Bitcoin is going to the moon. That is what we are seeing. Guys, when you see stuff like this, growth out of debt, that means inflationary. For all my Gen Zers out there, that means buy Bitcoin. That means their inflation is coming back. They're going to have to run it hot. They're going to have to print more money. They're going to drive the prices up of these things. make sure you get yourself some Bitcoin, okay? Listen here, okay? Listen here. You want to prosper? You want to have family? You want to be able to afford a home? Stop listening to TikTokers. Stop doom scrolling with all the low testosterone out there. To all these day traders driving Lamborghinis telling you they know how to pick stocks at the perfect moment. Wake up, touch grass, look at this chart. Bitcoin returns from 2010 to 2025. That's a 15-year track record. 15 years. Look at this chart. Holding Bitcoin, you've had 3 red years of 15. People ask me, dude, how do you do it? How do I do what? Win so much? That's what you want, Mike? You want to ask me a question? You're going to ask me how I just do green, 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 green. Look at that. 9,900%, 1,400%, 186%, 5,500%, 35%, 125%, 1,300%, 95, 301, 66, 156, 121, 27%. The king, the fastest horse. I'm telling you, the charts don't lie. This next one, gold, which is up 48% year to date, Bitcoin up 31% now, are the top performing major assets so far in 2025. We've never seen these two in the number 1 and the number 2 spots for any calendar year. In the 15 years Bitcoin has been around, gold and Bitcoin have never been 1 and 2. I'm going to say that again. Gold and Bitcoin have never been 1 and 2. What does that imply, guys? This is the new monetary era. I see all of these finance bros on all of the social medias. You got all these social medias where you got all this opportunity to spew all this nonsense. And they say, oh, you see that? You got some dude in an empty closet ranting about Bitcoin. This is the top. Who the hell is that? He must be in his mom's house. Yeah, okay. This is the end of the beginning. We are just getting started. And if you don't want to listen to me, that's fine. You can click on a different YouTube video. But I've been right for 13 goddamn years. Bitcoiners have been right for 15 years. You can no longer ignore the charts. The charts are the truth. And if you've got gold and Bitcoin leading for the first time in the asset's history where they've been operating together, that screams fiscal dominance. That screams fiscal emergency. That screams a new monetary era. That is a rotation out of the US dollar and US assets, guys. I cannot put it any clearer. I cannot put it any clearer. The charts do not lie. And I fully expect Bitcoin to rip and surpass gold as the top performer this year.
Mallers makes it clear this isn't the end of Bitcoin. It's just the end of the beginning. For 15 years, Bitcoiners were mocked and ignored, yet time after time, they've been proven right. Today, the data, charts, and market trends all point to one thing: the dollar era is fading. He calls it the Great Rotation, a shift away from US dollars and assets towards sound money like gold and Bitcoin. And here's the key point: Bitcoin's journey is still in its early stages. With a market cap smaller than some tech giants, mass adoption hasn't even begun yet. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more Bitcoin insights. See you in the next one.